What's going on, guys? So throughout my game dev journey, I've created many different types of workflows to better plan my systems. Personally, I found draw.io to be very helpful for this process. Mapping out workflows have really helped me organize my thoughts in a systematic way, which has helped me tremendously in deriving from different classes. For example, deriving from my scriptable object item class, I was able to categorize all types of items I want in my game. This is important as each subset of items may have different variables. Consumables may have a per-use life, energy, or mana float variable, while equipment such as armor may have attribute enhancement variables such as plus strength or plus luck. While equipment such as a container, example a backpack or a bag, would have a float variable of plus inventory slots. Early on in my learning, I just added these variables directly to the base class of item. However, when dealing with hundreds of different variables, I quickly learned why that would be a mistake. So this is just part of my trial and error learning process throughout these 4 years. I've also learned to use this system to plan our NPC behavior trees. In my game, I want NPCs, humans, and animals to react differently to the player depending on factors such as relationship, heart level, temperament, or morality. This will be especially important for my taming system to allow different challenges depending on the type of animal the player is attempting to tame. So a rabbit may flee while a wolf may attack, while other animals just may be neutral and just go about their daily business. Players may choose to tame animals on their own or could be asked to as a quest from one of the NPCs. Using this process for quest workflow, it's also extremely helpful. I could see all information at a glance to ensure there's proper risk reward depending on the quest difficulty. The player should never feel like they completed a quest for nothing. Even if not an item or gold reward, there should also be some kind of equal value delivered for their effort. Non-item reward examples may be location of a buried treasure or permanent stat boost, a new skill, anything like that. So these are all workflows I've created over the past 4 years, and this week I worked on planning my player input using the same type of process. So before this week I had separate scripts which allowed for input separately, such as melee combat, spell combat, fishing, and I had those separate scripts added to each type of weapon, spell, or tool when equipped. While this has worked, looking for the future, it does not really allow for scalability down the road, or like one main workflow for input. And it wasn't set up for anything other than PC controls either. The goal now is to have a player input manager that will accept player input from not only PC, but from mobile and consoles as well. For example, a player could press W, joystick up, or touchscreen up, and all would be accepted in the player input manager using Unity's input action system. In this case, I set it up so move performed would be called in the player input manager. This would then call player movement.movePlayer, accepting a vector 2 of either 0, 1 or 0, -1, essentially moving forward or back. And I also plan to use the same system for inputs such as opening UI menus, player interaction, and action bar navigation. UI may be an options menu or inventory. Player interaction would trigger example of opening and closing doors, picking up items, reading signs, speaking with NPCs. And the action bar navigation would mean cycling through the action bar when the player wants to equip different weapons, tools, or consumables. These all seem pretty straightforward, but I believe my biggest challenge would be handling use left hand and use right hand. In most games, action bars such as Minecraft, Stardew, Harvest Moon, Time at Portia, you cannot dual wield. This makes sense as the combat is very basic. However, I've always wanted to have more in-depth combat with more risk reward, which allows for player freedom when solving challenges. For example, a player may want to go sword and shield, playing more safely when delving into an unknown or dangerous area, or a different player may choose half magic and half melee, equipping a frost spell on the left and maybe a one-handed sword to the right. Or some may like a build wielding a greatsword, which is two-handed, does high damage but has a slower attack speed and really no defensive capabilities. Or if you're going magic route, dual wield fire magic, low defense but can deal massive damage. So I can do an entire video on all of the benefits of allowing dual wield, but the point is I want it in my game, and to achieve this, I plan to allow separate input controls for left and right hand that flows all through the input manager. Depending on the item equipped, my system will determine all required information based on the item used. As shown before, the item could be a food, a potion, a tool, a weapon, or a skill. My system will need to determine the animation to play, for example, drink potion or swing sword, and then the specific data based on the subset of the item, as I mentioned before. A spell may require a particle effect, while a melee weapon should trigger a melee collider and have some kind of collision sparks effect depending on what material it's hitting. While tools will need to interact with their surroundings, such as water for the fishing rod or soil for a garden hoe. And in any case, this is my plan currently, and I'm sure I will continue using trial and error to eventually achieve the ideal system and workflow for my game. But this is looking like it's working well already, and I am excited to try it for all of my other systems so they could flow all through this input manager. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions about the game, please let me know in the comments below.